everybody as well. Thank you for joining on this podcast today. I'm really happy to be joined by Bobby Briers from UK International Soccer as head of UK recruitment. And yeah, welcome, Bobby.
Thanks for welcoming me on, Nick. Appreciate it.
No problem at all. Brilliant. So, yeah, from our side, listen, when Bobby came to us and spoke about this program, and we'll go more into depth in reference to the program. So, tell me more, listen, Bobby, about the program. I know these opportunities are a paid internship in the US. So, you're coaching in the US, which is an unbelievable place to coach with the culture, with the facilities. You're gaining your UEFA B license and your UEFA C license, and also you're getting a degree in education. When you came to us initially, we were like, "Where's the catch?" So yeah, tell me a little bit about kind of you and your background, and then obviously the program as well.
Yeah, it's funny, Nick, because when I do presentations around colleges and clubs and so on and so forth, one of the first questions I get asked by coaches and more importantly parents when they're guiding their young children around exploring the idea of the opportunity, that's one of the first things to say is, where's the catch? This just sounds too good to be true. But honestly, there isn't. It is what it is. Everything that we say we deliver on, and everything that's included in the program which we advertise, it is what it is. So just a little bit about my background with regards to the program and how I sort of came into it. Previously I was a lecturer at the University of South Wales in Cardiff, as a football coaching lecturer, whereby essentially I led a program for 6 or 7 years in partnership with the EFL Trust, which was a blended learning football coaching foundation degree with the optional to do a top up. Prior to that, technical demonstrating football coaching. So I've worked in the higher education industry for nearly 15 years now. And I get UK International Soccer wanted to sort of attack the student market, I suppose, from a recruitment standpoint. And that's where I sort of came in and sort of I really liked the idea. I love this. I was aware of the program due to the partnership with the University of South Wales, so I knew what it was all about. I saw some really good things going on and saw some good graduates coming out of the program, and it was something I was really excited by. And I just kind of felt that it was a program that needed to be really shouted about by the rooftops because it's a unique program in terms of the detail and the content that's delivered on it. But no one else does it. It's a situation whereby we've got the opportunity to do the BSc honors in football coaching within the course content of the 3-year degree program. We've got the UEFA C license and the UEFA B license embedded into the course content. It's not a bolt on. It is embedded into the course content as well. So you're guaranteed a place to be able to study the two courses. Obviously, they are assessment based. Certainly, the B license is assessment based. So not everybody passes the B license just because they're on the course.
Yeah.
But obviously, we try and as a course academic team, we try and set up every candidate who's on the course to set them up in order to be in the best place possible to pass their academic studies from the BSc side of things, but also from the UEFA B license side of things as well. So that's the sort of course content and the academic involvement with the coaching badges embedded.
Mm.
But then the other side of the program, Nick, is obviously doing the degree via blended learning, which is a blend of face-to-face and online learning, which many people will be aware of, but also that paid internship as a coach in America as well for the duration of the program that they're doing the BSc. Whilst they're doing the course online, they're out in America on a paid internship as a football coach. So that opportunity to earn while you learn is like that sort of niche sort of terminology that we use to sort of market the course. And like I say, it is niche. Getting the opportunity to be paid whilst doing higher education is quite a rarity now. A lot of guys go into higher education and they have to pay for funding, pay
Yeah.
for accommodation, living costs, whereas we take care of all that on the program. So in terms of accommodation, in terms of travel costs to and from work, to and from university, everything is paid for here. So that's well that opportunity to earn, but also save as well, because higher education is very expensive nowadays. And hopefully we can bridge that gap between being able to save and earn, but also still continue with higher education. And
And I think,
obviously
yeah,
that
I think, Bobby, I think it'll give people a lot of peace of mind that those types of things are taken care of as well. Because obviously we place a lot of staff globally, and when they're going there, where am I going to stay? How am I going to do this? How am I going to get a mobile SIM card? So it's great that you've got that wraparound support. And I think that's really important when, especially somebody a little bit younger, goes to a different country. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you say, from an accommodation standpoint, from a travel standpoint, the guys get US SIM cards when they arrive. From the day they land in the US, from the day they depart, accommodation is taken care of by UK International Soccer. In terms of traveling around, obviously we have coaching clusters. So if you're over the age of 21 and you're a driver in the UK, you are classed as a driver, so you're able to drive our rental cars. We provide rental cars. We pay for the gas for the cars to be fueled. So essentially, that is all taken care of by us. Obviously, from an accommodation perspective, predominantly we use host families, which is generally going to be parents of children who you're working with at your club, on your camp, on your program, or whatever that might look like. But there are situations where hosting is difficult. Certainly since COVID, it's been a lot more sort of bit of a not contentious one, but not as many people are putting their hands up for whatever reasons, which is fine. And so we have sort of gone into the world of Airbnbs, hotels, and motels as well. But a huge part of the America experience is that sort of living with host families, embracing that US culture, really embedded into that family that you're staying with for a week, up to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months in some cases. So certainly our returning guys who are coming, who are on the second and third year of the program, they've got well-established links with host families, and they end up staying with them for pretty much the duration of the time they're in America.
And I think it's part of the experience as well. It's part of kind of that understanding of the culture, and that's really important. So I think one thing that we always look for in CVs, have they gone out of their comfort zone? So, if we see someone who's gone to the US at an early age, for example, there's a big tick from our side because they've actually gone out there, they've experienced footballing culture, they've experienced everyday culture in a different environment. So I think that's really interesting as well moving forward. So tell me more about the BSC football course. What do they study? What are the modules?
Yeah, so obviously it's a 3-year program. So in the first year, they'll study a blend of football coaching type modules. They'll do sort of professional practice module where they're out in the community delivering. They'll do an analysis module, so dipping their toes in football analysis and performance analysis. There's a sports science module. So again, those who, I guess what we're trying to create here, Nick, is more rounded coaches, because not everyone on the program is going to end up being a football coach. There's just not enough demand. However, the demand in football is aplenty, as we know. So we have a lot of guys coming onto the program, got a really burning interest in football and certainly coaching, but actually the reality is, I might not be a coach. I might dip my toe into performance analysis and really like that in my first year and explore that further on. Sports science, it might be down that route. More management route, sort of off the field type of things as well. Not so much football management, but sort of operational management. In terms of like success stories, we have some guys coming on the program. Yeah, I want to be a coach. I want to be a coach. This is what I want to do. I want to go and work in academies or whatever it might be. And at the end of the 3 years, their perspectives completely change. And actually, they've gone down another avenue or another route, and they've kicked on and sort of broadened their horizons that way. So I guess what the course does do, and I can hang my hat on it and say, it prepares you for employment. And you touched on it earlier with regard to that experience. I worked out yesterday that it's just under 1,500 hours over the course duration of exposure in coaching, in work, dealing with parents, dealing with different ability kids, different age kids, different environments, working with different coaches, some older, some younger, working under directors of football executives, board members. So having that sort of, might not necessarily get in your first placement in the first year, but certainly after the 3 years, our idea is to expose you to grassroots, to middle tier, to travel, to real advanced players and clubs. So that's the whole point. First year, a bit of a foundation. Second year, youth development. And then we sort of try and nudge things forward then into sort of niche areas, depending on what that individual route wants to go down. So we work with the individual.
A real holistic feel to it, Bobby.
Absolutely, yeah. No, and we want these people coming on the program to sort of carve their own path, and we completely get it. No, not everyone's going to know what route they want to go down straight away, but it's our job to expose them to different avenues, different ideas, different niches, and then ultimately support them along the way to push them down the avenue that they want to go down.
Okay, great. So when does the program kind of start and finish? I suppose for me, what I'd be interested in, which cities in America. I know it's very different from working in New York to working in Florida, for example. Just give me a little kind of background about those two areas.
Yeah, so the programs, we got two start dates. We have a September traditional course start date, which is for the traditional learner, where essentially they'll have their first year of the course in Cardiff, and that's traditionally for the more younger, inexperienced coach. So we work with them on campus, face to face, for a whole year and prepare them for America in their second and their third year. Whereas we get some applicants who are coming who are ready made. They've got a bit more experience, a bit more life experience, and they're essentially ready to go and be put in America, and they'll be able to juggle the course side of things and the academic side of things, but also the employment and the coaching side of things in America as well. So, and that's a big thing to juggle when you're being plonked the other side of the Atlantic. So, upon interview, we try and assess suitability based on knowing the two formats and the two entry dates we have, to then make a joint collective decision on, okay, Nick, you've got a bit more experience. You're going to put you on a January start because we think you're ready to go. Whereas we might have a younger Nick who's 18, 19, fresh out of college, that maybe lacks in a bit of experience and just maybe needs a little bit of help before we actually take them out there in their second and third year. So we try and cater for the inexperienced, but also the experience, as well as the more mature learners as well. So that's the sort of idea with the two different start dates. But in terms of where the programs are in America, I could get an infographic up, and with North America, and we're in every corner. So we're, Maine, New York, Seattle, Washington, North California, South California. I think we've got 5 guys down in Hawaii at the moment. We've got some down in Florida, or some in the middle around Texas as well. So if I was to get you an infographic, I could probably put a pin in 85% of the states in America. In some states, we've got 3 or 4 programs. In other states, we've got 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 programs. So it is really varied, and that opportunity to experience and travel and see different things and experience different cultures, this is where it really is sort of an opportunity whereby people can dive in and really just gain so much experience. But like coaching experience, yes, but as you alluded to earlier, when it comes to job interviews, what life experience have you got working with different people, different environments? And that really does bring it out, certainly for our graduates. A lot of our graduates go into jobs, as soon as they mention America, no, I haven't been there for 6 months or a summer. I've been there for 3 years, or 9 months a year for 3 years. So
not a bad place to be.
They've got plenty to talk about.
No, definitely. So, Bobby, can you give me like a case study in reference to an individual who has come on the course first year, where they kind of coached, and then kind of the back end, kind of what they gained out of the course and kind of the job pathway that they took?
Yeah, there's many examples, Nick, and like you say, not all of them go into coaching. We have some examples that there's one learner in particular that stands out where he's well under the entry level for the academic side of things from a course. The university didn't want to take him essentially, but we were like, no, this guy's got a really nice personality. We feel he's someone we can work with. And he's, he's not an academic person. Turns out he's come out, he's done a wicked job, amazing. Like, parents loved him, host families loved him, clubs loved him, calling him back, wanted him back every year. He did the 3 years. He then took a gap year for a year, again with us. So he stayed with us in America. He accessed a year gap year visa. He then went on to do a 2-year master's with us. And this is someone who, on paper, the university had written off. So he came out with a first class honours undergraduate, come out with a master's in leadership and sport, and now he's out there working full time for a club because they were like, we can't let this guy go. He's done so much for us over there. He wasn't there full time over the years, but he was in and out, and he's doing really good things out there. There's another person who thought they wanted to be a football coach, went out there, experienced it, loved the experience, but actually football coaching not for me. Came up with a first class honours, went and done a PGCE, and now was a head of PE in a football school. So we talk about those different routes and those different avenues, performance analysis coming out, social scientists coming out. Some are working in academies, some have set up their own football coaching businesses, some are still in the US. So yeah, there's so many stories in which we could sort of delve into, but it's one of the most common questions I get asked is, where can this take me? And my answer is always the same, is that it's all dependent on you. You can make this however you want it to be. But ultimately, you've always got to put yourself in that top 5% bracket of people, of graduates who are graduating out of a football coaching degree. We're not the only provider of a football coaching degree in the UK. There's probably a dozen other providers now who are doing football coaching programs. So what are you doing? What are you doing extra to be able to put you on top of that pile when it comes to shortlisting, as you guys will be really familiar with? And one of the biggest things I say is that volume of experience that they're going to get on our program in comparison to others, perhaps, is, I would say, is unrivaled, in my opinion.
And that leads us great into kind of suitability as well. So you mentioned about that candidate who basically was turned away by universities in the UK potentially, and you've basically kind of reinvigorated his career and his career pathway moving forward, which is unbelievable. So what does a suitable candidate look like from your point of view?
Well, there's two considerations here, Nick. Obviously, we've got the fresh out of college 18-year-old who's obviously lacking in experience, but might have it academically, might have some really superb A levels or whatever it might be. And then the other side of the spectrum, we've got, some mature learners. We've got someone on the program who's just nudging 50. Got all the world experience of coaching, but has been applying for jobs, and he's like, I'm not getting shortlisted because I haven't got a degree. So he came into it and he was like, look, I've got the experience, I just need the degree and I want to get the B license. But in terms of those two sort of entry point applicants, I suppose, it would be a case of every application that I receive is individually considered. Because, like I've mentioned earlier, no pathway is exactly the same, but we do have a baseline of UCAS points for the under 21 applicant. And then the over 21 applicant, we're looking at, okay, what have you done since college, university, or sixth form, or school, or some cases it might be. Some cases people have left at 16, gone and worked in industry, gone and got some really good experience. And now they're coming back to sort of formalize that experience as well. But being a good person, can they demonstrate that they've contributed towards the pathway that they want to go? Have they been working in schools? Are they doing some volunteering? Have they worked in football at whatever level? We're not looking for the next Jose Mourinho or, in my case, David Moyes. But it's more a case of, is this person going to go and represent the company well? Are they going to go out there and do a really good job and be able to engage with kids, engage with parents, engage with key stakeholders and represent the company in a different way? We've got a really good reputation and we want to try and uphold that as best we can. And, the guys who are working on our program, they're in control of that because they're the face of what we do.
I think that's a great synopsis, and it comes down to drive, probably, Bobby. If you see someone who, like you say, maybe hasn't got that exact qualification, if they sit in front of you and you can feel they've got that drive, they've got that determination, they've just not been given an opportunity. And how many times on a daily basis at Jobs for Football offices, we speak to individuals who I just don't have the opportunity. Nobody's given me a chance, So this is UK kind of international soccer saying, listen, we can give those opportunities moving forward.
No, you're absolutely right. And I got an example. This literally happened a couple of weeks ago where this 19-year-old, well under the UCAS threshold, I suppose, for the course. We have to have a threshold because otherwise, we've got nowhere to judge. But, I gave him a bit of an action plan. He's gone away, absolutely smashed over the last 4 or 5 months. He's come back and he's had glowing references from the people who he went away and done an independent CPD course himself, which contributed to some UCAS points. He's gone and got loads of experience. The kid's been out 7 days a week for the last 6 months. Fantastic. Just because I've said, look, this is what you're going to need to do. And, I'm so happy that, he got accepted about 10 days ago back on. So he reapplied And the university said, yeah, no, look, we love what you've done. And that's what it's about, you know. So I'm really excited to see actually what's he going to turn out like. How's he going to be on the course? And I've no doubt he'll be a superb advocate for the program.
So probably a big thing that people are kind of questioning now is costs, as always. Tuition fees, visa, travel. Just give us a kind of outline of how that looks, Bobby.
Yeah, good. So in terms of costs, obviously the tuition fees are the same as any other UK BSc degree. So I think at this current day we're looking at about 9,200 a year for your tuition fees per year for any BSc program in the UK. Now, obviously, 99% of people will access student loan for that via Student Finance England, Student Finance Wales, wherever it might be, Scotland, depending on where you're based in the UK. And obviously that's accessible from a tuition fees perspective. Obviously, then from an accommodation and travel standpoint, obviously we take care of that when you're in America. But however, there are costs to get there, i.e., your flights, your visas, your visa embassy appointment, in terms of actually getting there. So in terms of getting there, the cost is on the applicant. Now, depending on costs of flights and timings of bookings, as a ballpark figure, I always say between £1,300 and £1,400 a year will get you to the US, and then you can start getting paid, and so on and so forth. But we always say, look, it's a speculate to accumulate scenario here, Nick, whereby within sort of 4 to 5 weeks, you will have earned that money back in terms of what you've had to pay to get out there and get your visa sorted and so on and so forth. The costs that are there, they are what they are. We can't get away from that. We don't earn any money off that. It's just, you know, paying directly for your flights. You book your flights through the airline, visa costs and visa appointment fees. They're all paid directly to the visa embassy. So we as a company don't make any money on any applicant in terms of getting them there. That's just what the costs are. But like you say, it's a speculate to accumulate scenario.
And do you support? I know I've had over the years headaches with visas, etc. Do you have kind of like an admin section that can help with visa support?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a full-time visa manager. She's based in the US, and what she doesn't know about visas is not worth knowing. So she works individually with every single person. I don't envy her one bit for her job, but she does an absolutely unbelievable job with our applicants and our interns in order to get them over the line for their visa application, but also their successful interview as well. And we've got a really good relationship with the visa embassy in Belfast, which is where all our applicants go. They're fully aware of our program and they know what the program is all about. They know how well established the program is, and we've got a seriously good success rate in terms of applicant and into a successful applicant for visas. So more often than not, the guys who go saying that they've got our contract, they're going over there, they're in the visa embassy a matter of minutes before they get their visa granted and they're back out of there. So, but we support that all the way through the process. We've got a full-time welfare manager for when you are in the US on the program. We've got regional managers to support, obviously from an academic side of things. We've got our full-time course leader who's based in the US, who travels around and visits all our interns who are on the program. We have weekly drop-ins with course tutors as well. So essentially the tutors are there to support from an academic side of things. And then we've got regional managers and UCAS employees to support from a coaching professional side of things. So in terms of being supported to go and be successful, again, it's unrivaled, in my opinion, in comparison to other university degrees. That you might be on a course, you might be on a program, you might have a course leader or a module leader, but you know the support you're getting here is it's superb.
So how do I apply? You've sold it to me, Bobby. What's the application process look like?
So several ways. Obviously, the job applications are on Indeed. They're obviously on your website on Jobs for Football. You can go on the UK International Soccer website and you can apply on there. There's several ways in which you can apply, but you know, simple Google search of UK International Soccer BSc program, and it'll probably be the first thing that pops up on Google. But like you say, it's a case of it's out there, it's very well established now. And then, you know, any applications, it's a case of, you know, sell yourself on an application and then we take things from there.
Fantastic. Fantastic. No, Bobby, from my side, I think what stands out to me, you know, constantly through this call is the support and knowing us placing so many candidates globally. That's so important that when you arrive, not even when you arrive, before you arrive, you know, with visas, just kind of understanding what that kind of pathway is. Um, I think that's a huge kind of benefit moving forward. Then the key areas of the paid internship, coaching actually in the US, gaining the UEFA C and UEFA B, and having that degree education. It's like, you know, it's a holistic opportunity to basically develop and further your career moving forward. So yeah, no, from our side, thank you so much for coming on. I think we've covered the majority of what we wanted to moving forward. Like Bobby said, the opportunity is on our website as well, jobsforfootball.com. Please have a look at it. Any questions that anybody has, please feel free to send any questions to us or contact Bobby direct. We'll add Bobby's link to this podcast as well. And yeah, Bobby, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing how this journey continues.
My pleasure, mate. Really appreciate your time, and thanks for having me on.
Brilliant. Thank you.